What's going on, everybody? We're back with another Diablo 4 video, and today we're going to be covering all of the little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way about Diablo 4. The websites that are going to make leveling that much easier, the different little in-game mechanics that you can do that will save you a ton of time, just everything that I have found to be extremely beneficial that I wish I knew when I first started playing. Now, whether you're a new player or an experienced player, I do think that everybody will be able to find some value in this guide. First, we'll go ahead and talk about the websites that are going to be crucial to your Diablo 4 gameplay. The first one you're going to want to make sure to use is helltides.com. Now, this one becomes most relevant once you get past level 50 and you are able to do the Helltide content. When there is a Helltide going on, you can go to helltides.com, and if there isn't one going on, it will tell you how long until the next one. It also tells you how long until the next world boss and Legion events. But what makes it so special is while a Helltide is active, all of the orange circles are going to be your public events, making it easier to go ahead and farm the cinders very effectively. All you need to do is just go public event to public event and kill some stuff in between, and you will get to the 250 cinders for mysterious chest extremely quickly. Sometimes the mysterious chests will actually change locations, and you can get up to 4 per Helltide if that happens. But then also, instead of having to aimlessly ride around and try to find the mysterious chests, you just come on the website, and the chest that has the green dot on it is a confirmed mysterious chest. The next site you're going to want to make sure to take advantage of is mapgenie.io. Now, mapgenie.io is great because it will show you the locations of all of the strongholds, waypoints, I mean, literally anything in the game that you want to find. But for me, the best part about it was it shows you every single altar of Lilith. Now, you want to make sure to get your altars done because it gives you a ton of extra points, giving you a nice boost to your character. It's also going to give you a bunch of renown, and you only have to do it one time, and all of that renown will carry over for all future seasons. So it's definitely well worth doing, but you can actually come on this website and go from altar to altar, and then even if you go ahead and log in, it'll even let you track each one so you know which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. Now, it'll take about an hour and a half to 2 hours to go ahead and collect all of them. But considering the fact that you are going to get those bonuses for the rest of Diablo 4, it is hands down worth taking the time to do so. Another website you're going to want to utilize when you're getting into later game and you're looking for those end game builds is d4builds.gg. This is where I post all of my different builds for my druid, and I'll be going into the necro here soon. And even if you don't want to use one of my builds, you can just hit meta builds and look through everything that people are using to go ahead and give you a good idea as to how to level your guy up, what points you're going to need, and then even it will show you the entire Paragon board that you can follow. Instead of trying to have to min-max one yourself, you can just go ahead and follow my guide or someone else's to perfectly level your character. The last website that I found to be extremely beneficial is maxroll.gg, and specifically for the Nightmare Dungeon tier list. This tier list will tell you all of the best dungeons that you can do for solo experience farming, and then also for glyph leveling. Now, Dopamine Tunnels is hands down the best one for overall XP before you get to Nightmare Dungeons. And even once it is a Nightmare Dungeon, it is still the best one to do for XP. However, because of the bonus to gold and the bonus to experience that you get in Nightmare Dungeons, along with leveling the glyphs, once you can switch over to Nightmare Dungeons, it's definitely more beneficial for you long term to be running Nightmare Dungeons. This list is great though, because you'll know which dungeons to go ahead and salvage, and when you're crafting sigils, you'll know which ones to look out for. Next, we'll go ahead and cover breaking down gear, where you should go to break down your gear, and the fastest way to do so. So one misconception that there is in this game is people think that the higher the item level, the better the gear is going to be. And that is true to a degree where the stat rolls on it can be higher. However, you need to be following your guides and looking for the certain stats on your gear versus the item power. I would rather have a 770 piece of gear with 4 out of 4 stat rolls that I need than an 820 piece of gear with no effective stats. Definitely make sure you're paying attention to the stats more than you are the item power. But then also, when you come to break down your gear, the fastest way to do this is you're going to be looking through for all of the stats that you need on your different pieces of gear. You also want to be checking your rares, not just your legendaries. Rares actually have a better chance of getting a 4 out of 4 stat roll than a legendary. Legendaries, you're looking more for the perfect aspects than you are the gear itself. But be going through, and every time you see one that you don't want, just go ahead and hit square or the equivalent on mouse and keyboard to mark it as junk. Then when you go through, you can do this for your legendaries as well. You come over here to the blacksmith and you just go ahead and salvage all junk, and it'll make it so that you can do it all at once instead of having to skip through. It's not going to save a ton of time, but a little bit of time still adds up when you're grinding all the way to level 100. But also, the best place to go to break down your gear is going to be the Whispering Tree. The Whispering Tree is great because you can sell stuff right here to the Rings and Ambulance guy. You can break stuff down and repair at the blacksmith, and then you have your stash to go ahead and throw anything you want to keep in there. Everywhere else, you're spending time running to all these different parts of the town. This has it condensed all in one place for you, and I promise you it's going to save you a ton of time by the time you hit level 100 and beyond. Another thing that'll help out your gameplay a ton is getting your Renown done. As we talked about before, getting all of the altars done is going to give you a bunch of bonuses and add towards your Renown. But you want to make sure to max every place out. That way, you can get your 10 extra skill points and then another 20 Paragon points. The best way to do this is definitely by, one, you're going to need to get the strongholds done, get your waypoints done, and open up the entire map. That alone is going to get you the majority of the way there. The altars should almost finish it off, and then all you need to do is some side quests and some dungeons to finish your Renown. But the most efficient way to do that is by following this guide, which I do have in my Discord for people to be able to see. It will actually show you every single side quest that is going to lead into a dungeon. That way, you're not doing a dungeon, then you end up with a side quest that you have to go back and clear it. You're able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You're going to get 70 Renown for getting this done because they buffed it where side quests give 30 Renown, and then your new dungeons completions give 40. So definitely make sure that you go through and get all of these side quests done and finish the dungeon before you start going around and doing random dungeons to finish it off. They also announced that going into Season 2, all Renown will carry over. So going into Season 1, only your places discovered and your altars carried over. Now, going into Season 2 and beyond, if you go ahead and get max Renown this season, you'll never have to do it again. So do it Season 1, and like Diablo 3 has all the way to Season 30, you're going to be good for the next 29 seasons. In this season, Malignant Hearts are super important for builds, and the best way to target farm them is to go ahead and head over to Ravening Pit. Make sure that you have Wrathful Invokers when you go over there. If you don't have any yet and you're not that worried about a barber, you're still going to have up to 4 to 5 spawns, just not a guaranteed Wrathful. Now, if you do have your Wrathful Invokers, clear the Ravening Pit. It will literally take you 3, maybe 4 minutes at the most, and that is a long clear. And at the very end, in the back of the dungeon, you'll be able to use your Wrathful Invoker for a guaranteed chance at getting a Barber Heart. But then also, there should be 3 to 4 elites that you can kill before getting back there that all will have Malignant Heart drops as well. Also, before you even kill the elite, if it's not one of the bosses that you need to kill to get into the back of the dungeon, you can go ahead and skip them if it doesn't say Wrathful, Vicious, Devious, or Brutal. So right above or right below the health bar, it will actually say what type of heart it's going to drop. If it's not the one that you're looking for, you can skip that guy and just get into the back for your guaranteed chances at Wrathfuls. If you're making a new character and looking for the fastest way to get to level 50 and then get to level 100, this part is going to be for you. Now, when you first start out your character, you're going to want to go ahead and do a couple public events to get some quick levels. Once you do that, you're going to want to head over to the dopamine tunnels in Skoglin, which is at the top left part of the map, like kind of like middle top left. And you're going to come over here, and this dungeon has the best XP per minute in the game out of any other one. You're going to want to sit here, and you're just going to do this tunnel over and over and over again. It is kind of repetitive. Kill all the mobs, get to the boss, leave the dungeon, reset it, rinse and repeat. You can kill the boss if you want, but XP per minute and the loot that it drops is really not worth it. Just get to the end of it, leave it, and then go ahead and reset it. Once you hit 50, you're going to have a couple of different options. Either you can stay at the tunnels on World Tier 3. A lot of people just keep doing the normal tunnel on World Tier 3 over and over until they can unlock World Tier 4. Or you can go around and start doing some Hell Tides. That way you'll be collecting some good gear. You'll be getting some Forgotten Souls and your roses. But if you don't want to do that, then you can just start spamming Nightmare Dungeons. Nightmare Dungeons are going to be great because it will allow you to start getting your glyphs leveled up as early as possible, which is going to be massively beneficial for your Paragon board and also some big power spikes for you down the line. Another thing that is massively overlooked and people regret down the line is not farming enough resources. As you're traveling around, you definitely want to be making sure to go ahead and loot all of the plants that you see. The amount of ingredients that it starts to take for late game potions and then also upgrading your health potions every few levels starts to be a lot. So don't handicap yourself later on by not having enough resources when you're going around and doing your altars, opening up the whole map, doing side quests. Just take a second and go ahead and loot anything that you see. But then also when you're doing Hell Tides, make sure to be looking for the Fiend Rose bushes. Fiend Roses are used for some of your bigger invokers or your most powerful invokers for the Wrathful Hearts. It's also used to reroll any legendary gear. These are very hard to come by and go extremely quickly, so anytime you have a chance to loot these, definitely make sure that you're doing so. You also want to make sure that you are finding a happy balance between breaking down gear and selling it. Once you have about 1 million gold early game, you can go ahead and start breaking down the greater majority of your gear, because finding things like the Scattered Prisms and then Forgotten Souls and your Veiled Crystals are going to be a lot more important. Anytime that you re-roll your gear, if you're just re-rolling a rare for a certain stat, it's going to be taking 13 to 15 of these crystals. Then if you want to re-roll a legendary, you're going to need a Forgotten Soul and a Fiend Rose on top of it. So anytime that you have extra gear and you're not hurting for the money, make sure that you are breaking it down to get the maximum amount of resources to set yourself up for your end game builds.